I absolutely suck at drawing portraits. That's why for the next 30 days, I'm gonna do whatever it takes to learn how to draw digital portraits. Hey everyone, my name is Lance, and I'm an artist who really struggles with drawing faces. It's something that I've always struggled with and always wanted to get good at, so I thought it would be a good idea to just fully commit to learning this and see how far I can get. Now, before I actually get started learning how to draw portraits, I kind of want to see what I got. Think of this as day 0, seeing the level that I'm at right now. So in order to do that, I'm going to try and draw a portrait of my brother Braden. This is the photo of him I used as a reference, and I just went to work using every trick I knew, and I really tried. Dude, what is that? That is definitely not a good starting place for this challenge, but I mean, hey, this is why we're doing this, right? I need this desperately. So without further ado, let's get this challenge started. So for the first week of the challenge, day 1 through 7, I took this portrait drawing course taught by an artist named Spirduso. I found this course to be super beginner friendly, which was awesome because, as we just saw, I am very much a beginner. Through the first couple of lessons, I learned how to draw the features of the face, like the eye, the ear, the lips, the nose, and then he guided me to put it all together and I made this. Yeah, this is what he drew. This is what it was supposed to be. Mine just looks kind of creepy. Then he taught me how to make portraits with traditional art materials, which I found really challenging. I've never really drawn traditionally before, so I was definitely swimming in some unfamiliar territory. With that being said though, I don't think my portraits came out that bad. By themselves, they're actually pretty solid portraits. But it's when you compare it to the reference where you realize, yeah, this is not what it's supposed to look like. But I'll give myself some credit here. I feel like these portraits could be solid police sketches. Like the police could catch this guy, right? Overall, I loved Ken Spirduso's course. He's an amazing teacher and he guided me to make my first couple of solid portraits. I'll link his course in the description down below, so if you're interested, definitely check it out. After completing his course, I moved on to experimenting with something called the Loomis method. This thing is literally everywhere, so I wanted to see if it was worth the hype. So from day 8 to 13, I would watch videos on the Loomis method by Proco to understand and practice the fundamentals, and I was really liking this method a lot. Something that I was struggling with in the Ken Spirduso course was getting the proportions right. That's why my drawings didn't look like the reference, and the Loomis method really helped me with that. I really took it a step further when I came across this channel, One Pencil Drawing. They have a ton of videos where they draw a full portrait with the Loomis method that you can easily follow along with. I found a bunch of videos where they would draw celebrities, so trying to follow the videos as best as possible, I tried to draw a portrait of Emma Watson and Benedict Cumberbatch. I ran into the same problem as before, where my portrait didn't resemble the reference photo, and it was hard to tell who it was if you looked at the portrait by itself. I thought this was going to be a continuous problem until day 13, where I drew this portrait of Tom Hiddleston. This was the first time in the challenge where I felt like I captured the reference accurately. Like you could take one look at this portrait and know exactly who it is, you know? This was a huge milestone in my journey, and I definitely couldn't have done it without following the videos by One Pencil Drawing, so I'll link the channel in the description below, so definitely check it out. Now for day 14, I decided to go out in the wild and try to draw a live subject. I went on a hike with my grandpa and saw the beautiful outskirts of Seoul, and I asked him if I could draw him when we got to the top. Thank God he was so patient with me because I think I sat him down sketching him for like an hour. After I got the general construction and proportions down on a sketch, I came back home to render it for several more hours and ended up with this. Honestly, this turned out way better than I expected. I was really happy with how I was progressing in this journey, so for day 15, I decided to draw the one thing that I've always struggled to draw in the past. Myself. Oh yeah, let's get this party started. I took this photo of me and I tried to go for like a Spider-Verse portrait style, so I added like these comic dots and these purple and blue highlights to try and replicate the style. I tried. Honestly, that's all I can say for this one. I'm glad I experimented with this style. Like, it was cool, but I kind of just accepted that I'm probably never going to be able to draw myself right. It was clear that I needed some more help making that transition from traditional to digital portraits, so I just scoured the internet searching for YouTube tutorials, courses, anything that could help me. And I found a couple that gave me a better understanding of how to render skin properly, but it wasn't until I found this channel that really changed the game for me. Paintable is a digital painting education channel run by this guy. And he would do these live streams where he would draw amazing portraits from start to finish. And when I found these, I would literally just make sure I followed along every second and try to replicate exactly what he was doing. Of course, my portraits didn't turn out exactly like how he drew them, but being able to hear a professional artist talk about his process and see it unfold in real time made it so easy for me to make improvements in my own drawings. A little spoiler alert, some of the best portraits I drew from this challenge came from following these live streams. So Paintable, if you ever watch this video, thank you so much for your content. I really learned so much from you. Now, day 20 was a little bit of an interesting one. I was scrolling through Instagram and I saw this post by Baby No Money. If you don't know who he is, he's a famous rapper and singer who is known for commissioning his fans to make artwork for his songs, which I'm a huge fan of. In the post, he said that he's looking for an artist to make a cover for his latest song, 2, where he would use the winner's artwork and would receive $500. When I saw this, I ignored it at first, because there's just no way I was gonna win. I'm still such a baby artist. But the thought of what if kept bugging me. Like, what if I win? What if this famous artist uses something that I made in his hit song? That is such a great opportunity, and I'll never know unless I try. So I decided to go for it. The idea I had for this piece was going to be him in like this western scene, and because the song's called 2, I thought it would be cool if he was like swinging around 2 pistols. I don't know, I just love drawing cowboys, and if anything, I wanted to have some fun with this piece. So I took this reference photo of his face and put him in this pink fringed western shirt and a cape. I watched this quick tutorial on clothes to see how I could capture the folds of his pants and cape correctly, and after putting a lot of elbow grease into it, I finished with this. I was really happy with how this turned out. I think I captured him pretty accurately to the reference. Unfortunately, I didn't win the competition. This amazing piece of work did. But like I said, I didn't expect to, honestly. I knocked out my day 20 portrait and I shot my shot at a big opportunity, which will always be a win in my book. For day 21, I watched this portrait tutorial by Sam Does Arts. He showed us his process in drawing a portrait using this image as a reference. Following his instruction, I finished with this sketch. Now, up to this point, I've always needed to follow some kind of tutorial to make my art. And at this point in my journey, with everything I've learned, I wanted to see if I could render a portrait all on my own. So for day 21, I turned this sketch into this. Oh my goodness. Are you guys seeing this? Can we just take a second here to remind ourselves where I was at the start of this challenge? This is a drastic improvement. I was so happy to see that I could finally start making these portraits on my own. So then I was ready for the ultimate test, drawing my friends. This is the equivalent of drawing my brother all over again, because I'm not just drawing random Pinterest models anymore. These are people that I actually love and care about. So as you could expect, I was so nervous because I really wanted these to come out well. So from day 22 to 30, I gathered reference photos of my friends and took everything I've learned so far and captured them as best as I could. Now, I'm not gonna lie, the first couple of portraits I drew were a little rough. It became clear that I wasn't quite ready yet, so I knew I needed some more help. I attended these live Zoom sessions provided by my school that would teach digital portrait painting. It was here where I could get my questions answered and get a refresher on the fundamentals. I also had a little secret weapon, my mom. My mom is an amazing portrait artist and she helped me so much with literally every single portrait I've drawn in this challenge. I was so lucky to have such a skilled artist right there by my side helping me through everything, and I definitely couldn't have done this challenge without her. So Oma, huge shout out to you. But anyway, after heeding the feedback I got from my mom and from those Zoom calls, my portraits started to get better and better. And by the end of this period, I got to draw these 2 portraits of my friends Sally and Kenzo that I think I absolutely nailed. Looking at these 2 portraits, I just knew that this challenge was a success. And all the effort that I put into those rough drawings before was worth it. Okay, now I did finish the portrait challenge, but I want to be very clear about one thing. This did not take 30 days. I was such a fool to think that I could finish a portrait like this in only a day. In the beginning of the challenge, when I was drawing on paper, I was able to finish those in a day, but from day 15 onwards, when I would start drawing like these fully digitally rendered portraits, these would take me like a week, sometimes several weeks to complete. So with that in mind, this whole challenge took me about 6 months. Oh my gosh, I'm so slow! So I really hope you guys don't look at this video and go like, wow, he really improved that much in only 30 days? It took 6 months. This challenge took 6 times longer than it should have. So yeah, I just want to be completely transparent about that, but even though things were going to plan, I just knew that I couldn't give up, and I'm so glad I didn't, because the portraits that I was making by the end of this challenge, I couldn't have even dreamed of when I first started. So now for the $1 million question. Am I some amazing master portrait artist now after this challenge? No, absolutely not. There was a lot of hand-holding throughout this process. I needed help all the time. And it takes me decades to finish something a professional artist can make in a couple of hours. But at the end of the day, I think this challenge was a major success. I learned so much about not just how to draw portraits, but also about how to teach myself and how to grow as an artist. So with that in mind, here are the top 3 things that I learned from this experience. Number 1, have a plan. I did not come into this challenge, and that definitely came to bite me back in the butt. I was just mindlessly doing whatever I thought was good for me and making up my plan along the way. That's definitely one of the reasons why this challenge took so long. I had no structure to my learning. If I could start over, I would have done my research beforehand, find out exactly what courses I want to buy and what YouTube tutorials I want to follow. I would plan out each day so I could realistically hit my time frame and not waste time in the middle contemplating what I should do next. Tip number 2, if you're a digital artist or someone who wants to get into digital art, don't neglect traditional drawing, especially early in your art journey. Drawing with pencil and paper takes away the shortcuts that come with the digital medium, like the undo button. This forces you to develop that confidence and decisiveness in every line you put down, which is crucial for building strong fundamentals. Also, since you're working in black and white, it forces you to see the essential elements of your subject. You'll naturally start to notice how the light and shadow define the volume and the planes of the face. Mastering this skill will add a whole new level of depth and believability to your portraits. So just remember, if you want to be a good digital artist, pencil and paper lay the foundation. Master the basics there, and I promise you your digital art will only get better. Now for my last tip, this is the biggest lesson that I learned through all of this. Don't be afraid to be bad, especially when you first start something. If this portrait challenge taught me anything, it's that it is so important to put yourself in a position where you're constantly struggling and making mistakes, because that is where all the learning happened for me. So do that thing you're scared to do. Do that thing that you know you're gonna suck at. And when you inevitably make your mistakes, don't be too hard on yourself, because art is all about the journey, so you shouldn't be ashamed of yours. Anyway, that's all I've got for this video. If you enjoyed it or learned something, please like the video and consider subscribing, because this is the first of many videos to come. All right? So remember to be plus in the world, and I'll make sure to see you in the next video.